welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but today I have a special treat. We're gonna do a GOAT near max rarity deck profile. So I wish I had done a deck profile originally when I started playing GOAT, but I didn't, because it would have been really cool to just see the journey of where we are and like the changes I've made. So I guess we'll go ahead and start off with the monsters. So this one is definitely not max rarity. This is the okay. So this is the Sinister Serpent from the World Championship promo packs. There's another one that only comes, I believe, in Spanish. It's like the TFK one, but I can't justify spending that much, I want to say, on that. Oh, also prices for these will be like on the bottom right, so I gotta edit that in once I figure out how. But this one in German is probably like 30 bucks. I think the English one goes for like 40, maybe 50 bucks. We have two magical merchants from Champion Pack English. They're both very light play. There's like slight silvering around the edges. So yeah, I guess we'll also talk. So this is kind of like a staple in GOAT control. Great for recursion, good for metamorphosis fodder. Magical Merchant's really useful because it'll help you see your spell traps that can really change the game, especially your Graceful Charity or your Pot of Greed. Then we have the Magician of Faith. Honestly, this is probably one of the strongest cards, in conjunction with either Tsukuyomi or Book of Moon. Basically, you flip and it will get you back a spell card. There's been multiple games where you recycle Pot of Greed or Graceful Charity or something like Heavy Storm 2-3 times. So it's really cool. Oh yeah, also Champion Pack. Next we have a Morphing Jar from Tournament Pack 4. This is a little spicy tech that I play. Most people don't expect it. It would have been better if it was a light. Most of our monsters are dark, minus these four. So it does become tough pulling out the bigger monsters. But it's really useful, especially if your opponent's playing conservatively. They'll attack over it and then boom. Now they've lost all their resources in hand. This one, I want to say maybe 100 bucks. There is a TP2 ultra rare, but I have not seen one in person or honestly even on the internet for sale. I think the only thing other than this would be the one with the Jinzo jar. So this unfortunately is not a Jinzo jar. We now have our Retro Pack Sengen. It was hard to find a good condition copy in English. There's lots of foreign copies, but I'm trying to play as English as possible. Want to say this one's about 80 bucks near mint. Spirit Reaper from Champion Pack, also an interesting tech choice that I use. It's really good once you're able to clear the board, or if you're sort of stuck in a situation where you don't have much going on for you. This is really useful for protection, and the ability to randomly discard a card from your opponent's hand is great for control as well. A staple is Tribe Infecting Virus, MFC, first edition. If I'm not mistaken, this is max rarity. I don't think this is too much, but we'll see the price. I want to say total of the GOAT deck, probably at least 10K, so we'll see. DD Warrior Lady, max rarity is Hobby League. There is a Speed Duel Secret, which looks really good. However, the Hobby League is the older copy, so because of that, this is what I went with. It's honestly not that expensive, maybe like 5, 10, 15 bucks max. Really good for outing a lot of the big monsters. Breaker from Tournament Pack 7. This is absolutely max rarity. I think this was like $300 for light played or $500 for near mint, something ridiculous like that. Very powerful, free back row removal, free interaction. So next we'll move on to the spirit monsters that I use. Tsukuyomi is really good, especially in the mirror match or for abusing any of your flip effect monsters, primarily Magician of Faith. The flip face down is mandatory, so it does become tricky sometimes if this is the only monster you have, but it's great for abusing. Azura Priest, I guess LOD First Ed could also be considered max. I think at the time this was more expensive. When it comes to Hobby League versus original print first edition, it's really tough because I really like both of them. But yeah, this is really great, especially if they activate Scapegoat, because then you clear the entire board. Okay. And then, so originally, like a year ago, I was playing 2 Air Knight Parshoth, but I realized that it was a dead card when I saw it. You shouldn't be playing more than 3 boss monsters, of which we have, so Parshoth is LOD first, OG, and then our second boss monster is Chaos Source from Tournament Pack 2. It is basically a a weaker version of BLS. But it's great because it's a special summon and it can help you control the board as well. And then for our final monster, our boss monster, so this is light played, so it's not as expensive as it could be. But this is the Japanese ulti, the only printing to come ulti. I consider this to be max rarity over the Korean prize card EV because it's really just like a prismatic secret, and it's not that, like, I don't think it's that pretty. But like the foiling on this is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Like, wow. The way it pops out at you, and there's something about OCG cards. Next, we'll go into a couple of our one-ofs. MRL, so Magic Ruler, obviously is more original than Spell Ruler. So First Ed Delinquent Duo. Pot of Greed, First Ed near mint is ulti. That's definitely, I think it continuously goes up in price. Last I saw it was at like 200 something for a copy. Then we have Graceful Charity, Hobby League. I think this is max rarity. But yeah. So for all these cards where I'm like, okay, well there could be a difference in max rarity, I will either post in the comments or do something like towards the end of the video where we compare like, oh, what is the actual max rarity version? And then you have your 2 equip spells, Premature Burial, Snatch Steal, pretty self-explanatory, helps out big boss monsters or steal a monster for Metamorphosis. Both are from OG First Ed, Premature is from PSV, which is Pharaoh's Servant, and then this is Magic Ruler. All right, so we have Mystical Space Typhoon. It does negate, especially if it's OG First Ed. I consider this max rarity, although I may get the ulti because I am a huge fan of the ulti. I'm like really conflicted between where it says magic versus actual ulti. But yeah, so I would put this tied with the Astral Pack ulti as the max rarity. And just briefly going back through Graceful Charity, there's a secret rare from like Legendary Collection Yugi's World, which is, I don't think that's max rarity. And then the OG print is only in a super, and Hobby League is an ultra Hobby League. So that's why I consider that to be the max rarity. Azura Priest is the same way. It comes in LOD as a super, but ultra rare Hobby League, max rarity. And then I believe that was it from that pile. And then Heavy Storm is similar. I forget. I want to say it comes as a super as well. But this Heavy Storm as in Ultra is definitely max rarity. It does come in a retro pack rare, but I can't justify spending that much on a retro pack rare when I could spend the exact for a more beautiful Hobby League copy. So there's that. It comes in Metal Raiders. The next one, so I know I'm really upset that they reprinted this as the collector's rare, but I think it's good because it offers like a mid-max for enthusiasts. I know this isn't max rarity. However, the alties for Scapegoat I think look really good. The next step, however, is to get the, I believe it is a tournament pack or a championship pack. No, actually, I think it's retro pack for Scapegoats. But those are like 300 or 400 bucks a piece. In a similar situation, you have the Ulti Book of Moons. They just look really gorgeous. And it's a tournament pack, super or ultra, so I do have to get those. Those are also like $400 or $500 a piece, but I'm just a huge fan of the ultis. Plus, Book of Moon occasionally sees meta play. Nobleman of Crossout, I believe its original set was Pharaoh's Servant. I believe it's also a super, and therefore this is the max rarity. Super powerful because when you're playing the mirror match, like common cards that just give way too much advantage, like Decoichi, Morphing Jar, Cyber Jar, there's just a lot of flip effect monsters, so this really helps out them. These are probably like 20 to 30s. I know the Book of Moons were maybe 100, and then Scapegoats were maybe 100 each. So this is the big money. We have 3 near mint metamorphoses from Champion Pack 1. These are German, so they would be cheaper. English copies go for 2,000 a piece. I would say that foreign copies like German and Italian go for maybe like 1,500 a piece. So that's where a majority of the value of this deck comes from. Because, yeah. All the CP cards are extremely expensive. Now we have our traps. You have your Call of the Haunted from PSV, OG First Ed. Ring of Destruction is another card. It's got a retro pack secret. It looks really beautiful. However, I'm just a bigger fan of alties than I am of like secrets. If I do come across a retro pack secret, I probably will just pick it up, just cause. But yeah, I think the ulti looks so much better. We have your Torrential Tribute from Labyrinth of Nightmare, OG First Ed. You have to have your Mirror Force from Metal Raiders, OG First Ed, max rarity. We have Dust Tornado from PSV First Ed Supers. I don't think there's a higher rarity than this. I'm pretty sure this is max. Kind of hoping they print something else. That'd be interesting to see. And then last but not least for the main deck, we have 2 Sakuretsu Armors that are German near mint from CP. These are also like $400 or $500 a piece. Really beautiful, gorgeous. Obviously, them being foreign, they're probably like 85% of what an English copy is worth. Moving on, we'll just show off these tokens. So we have the 4 OG Scapegoat tokens. I could not tell you what set these are from, but there's only 2 printings, so they come in commons, which is like the original first printing they had. And then they came in a hollowed printing from one of the legendary collections. So obviously I had to get one of each set. These are actually surprisingly expensive. They're like $10 to $20 a piece. And then so next we'll go into the extra deck. This is really what makes up the meat of the deck. for goat control. You have 3 PSV Ultra First Ed near mint. There is an ulti, which would be a higher rarity, but I have not seen one for purchase in a long time. It is OCG, so I would like to eventually pick up one of those. You have your LOB First Ed, Dragoness the Wicked. Very rarely comes up, but can be used to swap out Sangan, get an extra body on board, fill your grave with a dark, and then add something to hand. You have your Darkfire Dragon, any of your level 4s, nothing crazy, LOB First Ed. Next, you have your Reaper on Nightmare. This is PGD. Unfortunately, this one isn't First Ed. I haven't really been looking for this one First Ed just because it's not something that you go into. Your big one that you really go into is just Thousand Eyes Restrict. And then occasionally you'll go into either like Fiend Skull Dragon, which is LOD First Ed, or Dark Bolter. So I have the Hobby League Ultra as well as the LOD First Ed. Dark Bolter is really good because it stops a lot of your opponent's spell cards. And then any flip effect or any effect monster, including flip effects, if you attack it, it's negated. And then we have for level 6s, a Dark Blade from RDS Ulti First Ed. This is like Kaiku, banishes 3 cards. You have Ryu Censure from LOD First Ed. It's sort of a reverse of Dark Bolter, so this is a trap negate. And then it's immune to all magic cards or spell cards. So Ojama King, I have 3 of them for if I were to do something crazy or dumb and summon out 2 of them. Unlikely, but so we have the Ulti First Ed from SOD. We have Duelist Pack 2, which I would assume is Chaz. Definitely not Max. I think this was just the first copy I had, and I never got rid of it. And then this was the Speed Duel Euro print. I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous, so I had to add it. Something cheeky to do. So there aren't many level 6s that I play other than the Chaos Sorcerer, and then in the side deck you'll see the Mobius. But if you're able to get out 2 of these, it restricts your opponent into 1 zone. I lied. If you're able to get out 2 of these, your opponent can't summon monsters. So, pretty awesome. And then this is nowhere near max rarity. This is something that I do have to upgrade. But as a level 7, it just does not come into effect very often. Additionally, you're not really special summoning unless you're playing against the Chaos deck. And at my locals, we don't really have people that play Chaos. And then last but not least is our level 8 Gatling Dragon. This is from FET, Flaming Eternity. I actually have a First Ed on the way. This is ridiculously expensive, purely for the GOAT purposes, but yeah. So last but not least, we have our extra deck, or side deck. Doesn't really get played much because most people don't have a side deck, but it does matter occasionally. So Kaiku is really good against the Chaos variant. This is the max rarity, the Hobby League version, because it allows you to banish cards, and it's a dark and a big beater. Blade Knight is very powerful against slip effect decks. There's like 2 of them. It'll negate the effect, and if you only have 1 card or less in your hand, it boosts your attack to 2k, which is very, very good. Abyss Soldier is a very cheeky card. It depends what type of deck you want to use it against. It's just a very good generic card, but if utilized with Sinister Serpent, you can consistently bounce cards from the deck to the hand, or from the field to the hand. And then we have, so this is from some Coliseum game, Monster Coliseum. We have our two first ed near mint Mobiuses, very beautiful SOD. These are like 200 a piece. We have another Alti Scapegoat. We have two creature swaps. So Scapegoat, it'll be utilized against more aggro decks like what's it, Beast Warrior Beatdown, just to add additional defense. And then Mobius is good against trap decks or back row heavy decks. You have your two LOD first ed creature swaps. It's really good using your tokens. So like in the mirror match, you could Scapegoat and then you creature swap for any of their monsters. No one really expects it. This one is severely miscut. Actually, they're both both miscut. This one not so bad, but this one's very miscut. And then if you're playing against trap heavy decks, you have your 7 Tools of the Bandit, OG First Ed from MRD. This one's not too expensive. I want to say maybe $5-10. And then last but not least, you have your Trap Dust Shoots. So these are the DTs, which are the second highest rarity. I do need to get the CPs, but I am not actively playing this, and it's in the side deck, so it's not really a priority. But yeah, so that's the deck profile for my near max rarity goat deck. We'll have the total in the corner here somewhere, or maybe here, as well as running totals. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you guys have any recommendations, or you think something's not max rarity, or if you don't think something's max rarity, why you don't think that, and what the other solution is, or like what actually is.